Welcome to What the World Needs Now with hosts Tom Whisinnand and Josh Monroe. We hope that you're able to leave feeling encouraged and ready for another day of changing lives in the field of education as we speak with inspirational teachers from across the nation and world about what keeps their spark lit.
In this episode, we talk with Megg Thompson, a behavioral consultant and family coach, about the importance of restructuring classroom management away from fear-based systems like clip charts, tokens, and stickers. Without any further ado, Megg Thompson.
All right, Meg, thank you so much for being here with us today. For our listeners that don't have the privilege of knowing who you are, could you tell us a little bit about your story? Who are you? Where are you from? And what's your role in education?
So my name is Megg Thompson. I am a certified behavior consultant and family coach, and I live in right on the beach. If right out that window back there is the beach in Hampton, New Hampshire. And I was a kindergarten teacher for 10 years, realized that I was good with the hard kids. So I left teaching and got my master's in early education and then got my certificate in behavior. And then when my son was 4 months old, decided to switch careers, which is probably not the best time to do that, actually. But I did, but that's what I decided to do. And I decided to build my own business. And I had my son in my lap doing it the whole time. So that's hard, but I did it 9 years later.
I gotta know, are you going to the beach today? Like, what's the weather up in New Hampshire right now?
Okay, so weird. It's supposed to be, because it's February, it's supposed to be like 2 days ago, it was 16 degrees. Yesterday was 52. Today is 63. But if you go outside and you're a piglet, you will blow away. It's a very blustery day. Very blustery. Like, I'm surprised you can't hear the wind. And it was raining sideways earlier. So, now there's blue skies. Hi, welcome to New England.
It's kind of how Omaha is too. Like, yesterday it was in the teens, but Sunday we're supposed to be at like 65. So
yeah, right. And I work with all age kids, but the little kids are like, what do I wear today? They have no idea what they're supposed to be putting on for clothes. They are so confused. Even my 9-year-old doesn't know.
Yeah, my daughter asked Alexa.
And my coat and my hat and my mittens. He doesn't know.
Mm-hmm. Megg, tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got into teaching kindergarten at first, and then deciding to change your business. I find it really intriguing. Teachers are all over the place, why they got into education. I want to know what about education got you into it.
So I nannied when I babysat. So I ran track in high school and college. And when you run track and play soccer collegiately, you can't have, or in high school, you can't have like a regular job, like right after school, right? Because that's when you're practicing. So I decided to babysit. And as I got older, I decided to nanny. And in my during a soccer game, I met a girl, and her mom owned a school. And so I got hired as a kindergarten teacher, and I have a degree in communications, and I was in advertising. So I was always good with kids. I always lead with humor and lightheartedness, and they think I'm funny and hysterical. And then I was like, maybe I'm good at this. So I taught for 10 years. And then I realized I'm much better at the social emotional part. I joke sometimes that I was a kindergarten teacher, but I'm not real good at teaching kids how to read, which is kind of not a good thing because I'm not good at that, like very ordered, right? That's sort of, I always say, I don't have ducks. I don't have a row. I have squirrels and they're drunk, right? So, reading is like a very ducks in the row sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I had a co-teacher when I taught kindergarten that could teach reading, and I was like in dramatic play and with sparkles on and tiaras. And so I was really good with the social emotional part, which made me really good with the kids that were explosive, that did all sorts of things that all the other educators were like, ah! Like, I mean, one time there was a kid who needed physical activity in the morning. So I came in all my goalie gear at 7:15 in the morning to play soccer with him. And he was much more regulated. And everybody's like, so should I wear soccer gear? I'm like, I don't know if that's going to work for you. It works for me because I play soccer and I was the goalie. So yeah, I did it on accident, actually. I didn't mean to go into education. It's funny how I stumbled upon the thing that I think everybody's really good at something. and I stumbled upon mine. I had no plan. I had roommates in college that wanted to be educators. Like 5 of them, I had 6 roommates and 5 of them wanted to be educators. I never thought to do it ever. And I just kind of fell in. And then I was like, oh, I'm actually good at this. So I stayed. And then I went to a different path because I was good with the hard kids. Oh, I should say hard kids, because I didn't find them hard. And I don't want them to think, right, that's not a good thing to tell a child.
So what about those? Oh,
go ahead, Tom.
What about those children that need a little bit more individualized approach to education? Makes them fun to work with, or makes them intriguing? Or what about those kids that some people find hard to reach, make them interesting for you?
So I have the temperament that is competitive. I have a very competitive temperament, and because I'm competitive, I like to use the temperament information I know that everybody should know, but not a lot of teachers start with that information. I like to see like, oh, okay, I know how to adjust myself. So this kid will either follow adult directives, or we can figure out work as a team to figure out how not to explode. Right. I like that piece. And I love when adults say to me, you know what, he's not going to take that assessment with you. He would never do that. And I'm like, oh, really?
Challenge
like,
accepted.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, and then I leave and I'm like, mission accomplished. or parents that say he's probably going to give you a really hard time. And I'm like, doubt it. And like, oh, well, you know what? She's not going to let you in the house. And I'll go and like, I have really bonkers clothes from when I was in college. Like I have like a whole sparkle outfit, unicorn outfit. And I've been to houses the first time I ever meet a kid with that outfit on. And the kids are like, oh, I love unicorns. I thought you might. She's like, are you coming in that outfit every day? And I was like, every time I come, I can wear this outfit if you want. And so I've actually, my husband, I'll come downstairs. He's like, are you going on a home visit? I was like, yes. He was like, oh. And my husband is a duck in a row. So he doesn't really know what to do with me sometimes. But yes, I find the part where the kids no one can reach, the ones that people have given up on, I just see it as a challenge. And I have that temperament too, like, right, like you said, like challenge accepted, I will do it. So that part's really fun for me.
And it can kind of be like a puzzle, right? Like trying to figure out how to best help them. And I have loved following you on TikTok and on Instagram, because I've gained a lot of those puzzle pieces that I can now use with challenging kids. Tell us a little bit about your approach with those kids, because I've loved the moment that I fell in love with you was when you started dogging on clip charts.
So, sorry. Okay, see, this is where I maybe start to say bad words that I'm not supposed to say. So the problem is that I'm not blaming teachers about clip charts, because I have a master's and that's what I learned. I learned ABA, I learned clip charts, I learned to dangle the carrot and have them chase it. I learned all those reward systems. So when you learn it, you think, well, yeah, it's a professor who went to school that did the things and they should know. And then I used to be, I know that's probably hard to believe, but I used to be quieter about it. I know that, but you have to be really loud. And the minute your tuchus hits the chair in a classroom and you say, I want to be an educator, the very first thing you should learn is about temperaments, because human behavior is a pattern. And every kid has their own toolbox, but then people are like, well, now what am I going to do? I have to know the strategies for this kid and this kid and this kid. I'm like, well, there's a module you learn that's also good for self-reflection, that you can build toolboxes. You only have to build 4, and then you can pick out of the 4 and put them in this kid's toolbox. So all the stickers, tickets, tokens, points, and clips are actually, there's no research, first of all, that shows they work and keeps a child's emotional wellness intact. There's no research that proves that. There's research that proves that they work, but there's probably also research that works that if you hit them, they'll pay attention. I mean, right? I mean, just right, because we're messing up. We can't mess with physical safety. So now we're messing with emotional safety. So then I'll get questions like, my kids love them. No, they don't. They're compliant. You just have compliant children, or they're internalizing their emotions, or the kids love them and they work. And I used to like try to scoot around that. And now I just am very blunt about it. That's not true. And I had one woman say, well, I'm going to ask them on Monday. Well, you can't ask them. You can't be the teacher to ask them. If you were their teacher and you ask them, they're going to say what? Yes, we love them. Because you're my teacher and I'm going to get in trouble if I say no. It has to be like very specifically asked, unanimous, anonymously. Alfie Kohn's a good person to watch and look at and read. He has one called Punished by Rewards. If you read that book, there's no way you would ever do that stuff again. So I have to ruffle, right? My hashtag is ruffle then shuffle. You have to ruffle. I have to ruffle feathers. Otherwise, people are gonna keep.
Yeah. What's kind of your comeback when a teacher would come at you and let's say that they're using like school money or
okay, yeah.
But they come at you and they say, well, I'm setting them up for the real world. I'm teaching them about management of their money. I'm teaching them blank with this system. Like, how do you combat that argument?
Oh yeah, I also get that. Well, when you do work, everybody gets a paycheck. That's not. Well, so power and control separates those two things. So I have when I right after this, I have a Zoom consult and I'm going to make money for that. But I had the power to choose to do it. I had the power to choose my education. I have the control over when it is. And I had the choice to do it now or do it a different day. But all those stickers, tickets, tokens, points, and clips are about compliance. And that should never be our goal. Like, you're going to do these things to get this sticker, but that's like right now, I say, Josh, go ahead. I'd work maybe a little bit for a donut. So you get one donut. If right now, you have to do it right now though, you can say, hi, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? In Russian. Ready, go. And Josh is like, oh, I don't even know this. I don't even know the swear words in Russian. And that's always the first word you know.
But I really want that donut. And now I'm upset and I'm angry because your expectation is unrealistic and I'm not getting that donut. And I don't want to do anything else with you or for you because you just totally set me up to fail. Thanks a lot.
Set me up to fail. And it's a lack of skill. No matter how much I waggle in front of Josh, he's not coming to get the donut. He might like pretend to speak Russian, but some kids don't know. And then you have kids that have harder home lives, right? With trauma or abuse or something going on, or they're neurodivergent thinkers or right. And then they're like, but I actually don't know how to get what you're dangling in front of me. I have no idea how to get it.
This may come as a shock to some of you, but I had Bo, and I'm going to throw my longtime friends under the bus here. Bo and Timmy and myself kind of were on the other end where our teacher would give us a job and we would choose to do it. And if we did it, she would give us a nickel. And if we didn't do it, we would owe her a nickel. And we took it and said, you know what? It's just a nickel. So let's see how many nickels we can owe our teacher at the end of every quarter. And whoever owes her the most nickels is the winner. And you know what?
You flipped that on her.
Yeah, because
she didn't see that coming though, Tom. She didn't know that was going to happen.
It's a nickel. I don't want to clean out my desk for a nickel. Just keep the nickel and I'll give you one. And so what would you say to somebody who has a student who's a little bit naughty, who doesn't want to play the game? You know what I mean?
Well, so if you knew temperaments, you would not do those systems in the first place, because they're 10% of the population is built like me. That will be like, oh, what? Oh, wait, if I do 3 things, I get clipped down from ready to learn. to teacher consequence, or warning to teacher consequence to parent contact. And when you call my parents and you send me home, right? If I'm bad enough, I could go home. And now that's a vacation for me. So I'm just gonna do that. And just as we think there aren't kids like that, there are kids like that. But while you're doing the sticker clip thing with this kid, and usually you make it for the kid that will not comply, we are hurting the kids that are more prone to anxiety and depression. So no kid ever loves those systems. The kids that we make them for are the kids that we need to take it out of their toolbox right now. Sounds like, Tom, you might have a little bit of that temperament, since you were like, hey guys, you know what we should do? And I love that. But see, so the problem with these is that there's one kid that will do it at least one time. And the teachers, and know that when I taught kindergarten, I did these systems because that's what I was told to do. At least one time someone did it and we think, oh my gosh, guys, we found the system. We found the thing. And we do like a little teacher happy dance, and then it doesn't work anymore. So what happens? We up the ante. We like, instead of a little thing, now instead of a nickel, Tom, you'd get a quarter. And then it's like, instead of this much time, it's only instead of this much time, it's this much time. Yeah. So then there's all this like manipulating of the system, so I can get that high I had when one kid listened one time, or I had one day where it worked. And we're always chasing that high. That's the problem with these systems. But then people will say, well, they work in the real world. Right. And they don't, because Drive by Daniel Pink, right? He did like the business version of Alfie Kohn's education version, and it doesn't work in the real world either. It doesn't work in the business world either. But now we're trying to do it to teachers. We're trying to do it to like Josh. If you stay later, come to these meetings or join these clubs, we'll give you a gift certificate to Olive Garden, the pretend Italian restaurant. And you can, and then you'll feel better when you get that about doing it to the kids, right? So now we're doing it to the adults to do it to the children.
I think that these are the conversations that teachers need to be having, because like you were talking about, this is what we were taught in college.
Yeah.
Like this is the way that you can manage your classroom and be effective. But then you point out, this is not how the real world works. I am motivated to an extent for my paycheck so that I can take care of my family, but I am not motivated by that paycheck to be the best teacher I can be.
Right? No, right, exactly, right.
You're motivated by the feelings inside, by what you want to accomplish, right? By you. And I think that those are the things that we need to be teaching teachers.
Yes. And we only get in college, like, I only had, I think, one class about behavior. So like bedside manner for a doctor, right? It's only like this little piece. Right. And the same with teachers, it's only this little piece of behavior, but it's huge. We know that if behavior is hard, and Maslow's first 4 authentic needs, right? We have to meet those before we get to a growth need. And the first growth need is need to know and understand. And we can't teach any academic pieces if all the kids are flailing down here. Yeah. But we forget that somehow. And now with COVID, it's even worse, right? We feel like we're behind because of COVID. So we're trying to do more academics. And then we're also trying to do these things I'm sure you've seen them. They're trying to be done virtually now. Like we're doing virtual, like when it was virtual school, they still were doing sticker charts virtually. And I was like, do you not know the kid could just put you on mute and close the laptop?
Right. They're making a choice to be there with you.
And you can be so mad at them. And you know what? They don't know. They're off playing a video game or playing Monopoly or going outside. They don't care about you.
I'm glad that you touched on the pandemic, because I think there's anxiety and depression around the pandemic. But then you brought up anxiety and depression in use of token charts or token economies in classrooms. Talk a little bit about that, because if we already have anxiety and depression, some students coming out of the pandemic because of the pandemic, it would occur to me that perhaps these token economies and clip charts are simply compounding that within classrooms across the country. So talk to us a little bit about the anxiety and depression that can go along with those.
So that it's exactly right. And that's why I could probably work 24 hours a day if I was like a robot and didn't sleep, because all the kids are needing to go to some sort of therapy, or not all the kids, but a lot of the kids that weren't doing it before the pandemic are now have to go to some sort of therapy. And they're right. I have one person that's they have an opening in November. That is 9 months from now. So I'm like, because I work for myself, I am the only one kind of in the area that is still taking kids all the time, always. I'll probably never say no. And the problem is with anxiety and depression, unlike like ODD and ADHD are kind of out. They're like verbal and external, where anxiety and depression is internal. So unless you are watching and paying specific attention and know maybe that it's a heredity piece, right? 70% of adults with anxiety and depression have kids that have anxiety and depression, right? So if you have both parents, it's probably exponential. So, but they're internal. So an anxious kid could hold it together. A depressed kid could hold it together in school. And then what does it look like at home? And then they fall apart at home, but then they do what? They ask the teachers, oh my gosh, well, I don't know what to do, right? I'm looking to you as an educator to tell me what to do. And the educators say, here? Johnny's not like that here at all.
Yeah.
He's like my role model student.
Yes.
But that's because he's learned to stuff it, because the temperament that is could be diagnosed with anxiety, right? I don't diagnose. So the temperament that could be diagnosed with anxiety is also the people pleaser temperament that is also internalizes their emotions. The one that, right? And depression is just anger turned inward. So like and they don't usually get a lot on that clip chart because they just have always acquiesced and been obedient.
Sure.
So they're like, well, they keep missing me. I'm doing good stuff and I'm not clipping up. But Tom, who's out in the hallway, decided to be out in the hallway less today, and he got all the way up to outstanding. That doesn't make sense to kids. But you can't, and who do you ask? The teacher? I've had kids ask the teacher in front of me and say, you know what, that's hurtful to me. I don't like it. And the teacher's like, that's what we use here. And I'm like, oh, that's not what you should say.
No.
But again, that's what the teachers learned. And if I went, and I have done it before, taken those systems out of the classroom, like I've been known, because I'm kind of sassy, taken them off the wall and folded them up and then put them on the principal's desk. I was like, this is a no. It's emotionally hurtful to kids. And we can't do it. But if you take them away, now what do teachers do? They don't have any other place to go. No. They don't have, so people ask me, okay, so you take that off the wall and you tell me not to do this stuff. And it's usually very angry that they tell me, what do I do instead? It's always yelling at me. What do I do instead? I said, that's the wrong question. It's not what do I do instead? What new information do I need so I know what to do instead? But they don't have the new information. And I've tried, right? I have a master class that gives you the new information. I've tried to whittle it down. It's still 10 hours.
Yeah.
Because if I take things out, then you don't get all the information. But then teachers are busy and they're already overextended. And so I'm like, and they want me to have an easy way, and I don't have they want me to have another Pinterest strategy, to be honest. If I can't use this one that I've created and laminated, can you tell me another one I can create and laminate?
All right, where can I go on Teachers Pay Teachers to do this?
Oh, actually, if you are Googling or searching in Pinterest, Etsy, or Teachers Pay Teachers about behavior management, you're doing it wrong. Right? Because you get all the fancy, and teachers love that stuff. Oh, look at the colors. And I get to sparklify it, put stickers on it, and laminate. They love that stuff. Do that for a bulletin board. Don't do it for behavior management.
And it's easy. It's easy because one
Yes.
size fits all. Here's one plan, here's one document, and I can use it with 26, 30, 18 kids, 18 personalities. And that's what we want because we are busy. What would you say, Meg, to a school-wide behavior plan that wants positive, we call it positive reinforcements, PBIS or other things.
Class dojo.
Right. What if it's school-wide?
Same stuff. It's the same thing. So school-wide makes it even worse because it's one thing if a teacher does it and it's in their classroom, but if it's school-wide, it's usually because it's mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
So I always say I get teachers daily that say, but I have to do it in my school. What do I do instead? And I said, well, right, that's not the question, but I said, this is what you can do. I have a Google Doc, 2 Google Docs, and they have over 70 articles, and print out like 10 articles. Get Drive by Daniel Pink and Punished by Rewards by Alfie Kohn. Walk in. You have to see, and this is where you can't fight it if you're not going to be loud. If you're going to be quiet, meek and mild, right? Don't they say like well-behaved women rarely make history?
Yeah.
Right? So you're going to hold those in your hand and you said, you know what? I know you would never have me do anything that is physically unsafe for kids as a behavior management strategy. I know you would never have me do that. I'm not going to trade physical safety for emotional safety. I have the research that proves this is not good for kids and it doesn't work. I'm really interested in the and. I would love to gift these to you. And I would love, and maybe it'll take a month to give me the research that proves these are good for kids and they work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to hold off on these strategies because of what I read, right? And in the research I read, I know we're really interested in research and education. I'm going to hold off on those. And when you get your research, I would love to meet with you. I mean, the problem is that they'll never find the research. And then, right, we're so interested in all the research about all the things, right? Research about the math curriculum and the reading curriculum and the social studies curriculum. But once we get to behavior management, I don't know what happens.
Mm-hmm.
What happens? I have no idea. We just are like, don't pay attention to it. We don't realize that it's hurtful. And I can't just be quiet about it because while it's happening, kids are getting hurt.
Yeah.
And once you put out a kid's fire, you might never reignite it. It could be, right? And self-esteem is that last authentic need in a human in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So we have a lot of kids spinning in self-esteem. If you feel bad about yourself, are you going to really try super hard at math when it's hard for you? Are you really going to read and focus on literacy because it's important in this world? No, because you're spinning in self-esteem. And we're doing it inadvertently. I know no teacher means to do it, but that's what we learn. So we need to shift. But there's so many people who do it. Sometimes I feel like it's me against the behavior world. Because there's people on the other side of behavior, right? I'm over here in a little nook and cranny and there's like 10 of us. And then there's a whole bunch of people over here that are promoting stickers, tickets, tokens, points, and clips. Right? So, and they're louder just because there's more of them and it's really hard to.
Yeah. Do you see a shift happening in education? Because you talked about when you started, you used some of these things. When I started, I used Class Dojo, and once you know better, you do better, right?
Yeah, right.
And at least from what I'm seeing in my school, and maybe it's just because of who I follow on Instagram, but the things that I see on Instagram, to me, it seems like people are moving away from these things. Do you see that shift?
So you said something important. When you know better, you do better. But to know better, you need the new information. So I think it's partly who we both follow, because sometimes I think, yeah, but then, right. And I don't, well, because I'm competitive, right. I have so many followers, and right. The more followers means the more work and the more money, right. So that's just kind of the way social media works. And then I see these people who educators who are saying, use this system, and it's a reward system, and they have like 100,000 people following them. And I'm like, oh, how do I fight 100,000 of just your followers? And then 100,000 of your followers. And then you see that system that they do. And then all the comments are, oh, I love this. I'm totally doing this. I'm going to Michael's tonight. I'm like, oh. So then there's lonely me who I can't just scroll by. And I'm polite and nice as I can be, I guess. And I'm just like, oh, that's actually right. Research shows that that's hurtful to kids. Alfie Kohn's book, Punished by Rewards, is a really great place to start if you would like to get new information. And then they either ignore me or they say, nope, it works in my classroom or my kids love it.
Yeah, and you're totally right that social media, like I said, it's probably just because of who I follow, and I don't make a lot of noise. If I don't like it, I just click unfollow.
Yeah.
But these are the conversations that we need to get out more. We need to be comfortable with being able to disagree civilly, but then also see other people's points of view, right? Like, if you can come at me with research and you can help teach me, I need to be able to listen to that.
Right.
Without being defensive. Like, you said it earlier, you're not saying anybody's a bad teacher. This is how we were taught by universities.
Yeah, right.
So,
and if you weren't taught by university, then you Google it. Behavior management strategies, right? Because you're like, well, I need something. And that's what Google comes up with, because it's like a pin and not a 10-hour course.
Meg, what do we switch to? It's clear that you're very passionate, and it's clear that education needs a shift, right? Like we've been raised on these clip charts and nickel systems and economies, and what do we shift to so that our kids can have a more authentic learning environment where everybody can flourish?
So we have to shift to the temperament piece. So, right. So it starts with the very first thing we have to learn is self-reflection. So who am I? So it'll be funny to tell you this, but until I was 37, I did not know I was intense. I thought I was fun and friendly. And then I got the message I was intense, and I was like,
I got the message.
Right. So I'm only 5 years into realizing that I'm kind of sharp around the edges. But then once we know, right, to the self-reflection piece, we have to answer the question, who is this child? The same system, the DISC model, does both of those. So we know what toolbox to build and what to put in it. Then we have to work on the relationship piece, right? I was in an IEP meeting, oh gosh, yesterday, the day before, for like 2 hours. And I got off to go pick up my son, and it still went another hour and a half. And I did the self-reflection piece, and I did the who is this child piece, the DISC model with this child. And I was like, you know what you have to do? All the teachers that are having a hard time with him, they take it too. They take that assessment too and say, you know what, buddy? No wonder we're finding each other a little tricky. Look at how I came out. I am opposite you. So what you do, I don't understand. And what I do, you don't understand. So now we have a whole new conversation, right, with this relationship piece. Yeah. It can't be, but when teachers don't know what to do, they hoard all the power and give you none of it. Well, we can't do that because there are some kids that are motivated by challenge, choice, and control. So we've lost them. Those are also the kids, Tom, that sit in the hallway. And then we have to go to the environment piece, the differentiation of instruction. Do I teach the way kids learn? Then we have to do to the natural and logical consequence piece. And then we get to support plans, which means, right, Josh is waving a flag being like, okay, I've done all that. But I still think there's OT or a school psychologist or a school counselor, or he has ADD, or right, we're not allowed to diagnose. We just know that we've done all this stuff and there's still challenges happening. Yeah. So before we start with self-reflection, 18 to 24% of the kids are diagnosed with something. That's a lot of kids. That's a fourth of your classroom. That's a lot. So if you do the self-reflection, who am I? Relationships, environments, differentiation of instruction, assess, which is the natural and logical consequences, it goes from 18 to 23% to 1 to 2%.
Wow.
And I always say 98% of the time, a challenging behavior is a lack of skill or an unmet need. So all the skills are in what I just told you, those tiers.
Yeah.
All the needs are the first 4 in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, authentic needs. And when you put them all together, that's the 98%. The 2% is nuts. I really think this kid is a neurodivergent thinker, and I need more information, and I need more information from an OT, from a PT, from somebody else, because I did not go to school for those things.
Right.
So I need new information, right? That's sort of my thing is we always need new information. But once we can do that tiered system, which is my masterclass actually, which is the 10 hours, then we have the new information, and then you don't actually have to come to me again. If you invest in those 10 hours, you have the information now to make your own strategies. Like you should have had in college to leave and have your own strategies, but instead you have just a sticker chart. So right, it's sort of hard to take a sticker chart away where you Googled it and then put it up, and now you want me to do 10 hours.
There's a lot of thinking that goes into those 10 hours. You just went through in a couple minutes, a bunch of thinking, and my mind's just blown away, because those are things that I think are desperately needed to be explored. And it's so much easier to put up a sticker chart or nickel system or punch cards or whatever.
Oh, and some of it, do you know the one with the stuffed octopus, and there's a happy face, and then you flip it over, and then there's a sad face on the other side?
Oh no.
So the teacher says, well, your behavior has to keep the octopus happy, which really means you have to keep the teacher happy, which any age child should not be responsible for the teacher's happiness.
No.
But instead, we didn't do it like that. We just put it on a stuffed animal.
Yeah.
So every time they're in like gas stations, they're everywhere. And I want to like buy them all and like hoard them and put them in a closet so no one else can buy them. I do that with books, by the way. I buy like 1, 2, 3 Magic. I buy those books, and then I am I allowed to say I throw them away?
You can say whatever you want.
I recycle them. I buy all the books that, right? Because I don't want someone to be like, I don't know what to do. I count to 3, and I'm like, oh, again, I toward all the power. So I buy books and I buy those timeout dolls, you know, those dolls that like go like this, and they're like little and they're dressed up. I buy all those at yard sales, and then I recycle those too.
Man, I did not know. I've seen those flippable octopuses. I would not imagine using those in a classroom, because just like when we talk about clip charts and dojos, and those
desk
are
pets, Josh.
Those are very public, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was the thing that changed my thinking when I realized this is so public and can be so embarrassing to children.
Oh, so embarrassing.
I don't know. That's what changed my thinking. And since then, I've done what you did, what you talked about. Like, you got to go out and seek that information. If you know that it's not good, but you're not sure what to do, you got to seek out the betterness of what you want.
And I always say, it doesn't have to be me. You don't have to, right? If you don't want 10 hours, you could, or you don't want to spend it that way. Alfie Kohn's book might take you less than 10 hours. Yeah. Daniel Pink's book, Drive, anything by Brene Brown. She's amazing. She's a shame and vulnerability researcher. So she talks about how shame can stay with you. And I've heard stories from people that are like 50, 60 years old, that I remember in first grade when I got clipped down, or when I got, and I'm like, and they knew what they wore and the person and their teacher's name. And I was like, that's shame. And shame follows you forever.
That's really powerful. Like, that is so powerful to carry that weight with you throughout your life about elementary school behaviors.
And what about you're the teacher that caused that?
Right.
That's why I stopped. I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I'm the teacher who causes negative self-esteem in a kid? I would be mortified. I mean, I think when I taught, I was really squirrely. I don't know if I'm less squirrely now, but I feel like I want to call like 150 of the kids and be like, I'm sorry, I was too much for you. I didn't mean it. It was an accident. But I don't think I hurt anybody's self-esteem. I hope nobody's self-esteem is affected because I did something. I think I just would be mortified if that was the case. So I always lead with love, but then that takes a lot of new information to lead that way.
100%. That's what we should always lead with, right? Love and empathy.
And when people get mad at me, I'm like, whoa. because I'm feisty. I'm like, whoa, wait, are you mad at me because I chose love? You're mad at me right now? I had someone the other day, every time and probably even in the emails and stuff I've left you to, like I always put 2 red hearts. That's like my brand, right? I put 2 red hearts, and someone's like, enough with the passive aggressive hearts already. I was like, they're not. I'm not passive aggressive at all ever. And why would I choose love to be passive aggressive about? But they were so angry with me, Tom, because I used passive aggressive hearts.
Well, darn it. What, you're not going to make everybody happy all the time.
No, I know.
I really like the hearts, Meg. I really do.
Me too, but I made that girl really mad.
Oh, man.
Well, Megg, this has been absolutely amazing. At the end of every episode, we always want to know. This is like our driving question, why we started the podcast. What does the world need now?
Oh gosh, okay. I thought about it. So it needs new information for educators. The minute their tuchus hits the education seat, we need new information. We need louder voices, right? If you don't want to do sticker charts, you need to stand up. You need to have the information. You need to, I don't know how many times this is what you're going to say. And I've written a script and the teacher has practiced it to say, right? So she has the right information. Well, what if they say this back? Okay, this is what you're going to say. So we need louder voices. Of course, we need less stickers, tickets, tokens, points, and clips. I would like none of them. I mean, stickers, yeah. Have all the stickers you want. Just don't use them as rewards. I love stickers. And of course, we need more love. That's what the world needs, right? And maybe less COVID, but we can't do anything about the COVID. So we have to just roll out of that. Because I think everybody would say that, right?
Yep.
Everybody would say that. But I can't make less COVID, but I can make more love. I can be louder. I can give new information, right? I'm going to try to focus on the things I can do.
Yep, that's right.
And I always tell people I would make millions of dollars with my humor and my charisma and the way I present myself. If I did stickers, tickets, tokens, points, and clips, I would make so much money. And I won't do it.
I love
because I'm not going to trade emotional wellness for money.
100%. We never should, right? I love how you put new information and louder voices together, because to have that loud voice, you got to have information. You got to know, hey, when they say this to me, here's how I can respond, right? And that goes to that what we were talking earlier, being able to have these discussions with people that disagree with us. So I have a lot
of people that disagree with me, Josh.
Well, that's unfortunate, because I love everything that you're saying. I think that if we can listen to what you're preaching to us and we can implement these into our classrooms, our kids are going to be better for it. I
totally agree. And then we just sometimes we have to put what we've learned aside, right? And this stuff came out in the 80s. So we've given it 44 years. I think that's probably a good run. It's time to be done. We need to retire them, right? Yep. We have to Tom Brady it. We got to retire it, right? And now we got to start with something else. Now we have to, what's his name? Mac Jones. Now we have to Mac Jones it, right? Big football fan.
I was going to go with Patrick Mahomes, but.
Oh, not a big fan. Well, because he's not on the Patriots.
That's fair.
Megg, I love your intensity. Thank you so much for being here and enlightening us.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Keep those 2 hearts going. I love it. I can learn from you all day. This is great. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great one.
Thanks, you too.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. We're so thankful and appreciative that you took your time to listen to our guest, Megg Thompson. Hopefully you're ready for another week of changing lives, and hopefully what the world needs now is helping you to sustain your inspiration as we journey through this school year. If it is, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps us to get inspirational educators' stories out.
We hope that as you head out, you remember the biggest factor that plays into student success is you. Your love, your passion, your empathy, your dedication is exactly what the world needs now. Thank you for everything you do. Have a good one.